Panic-gripped residents of Otobi community in Akpa district of Otukpo Local Government Area of Benue State on Tuesday evening. As suspected, armed herders launched a fresh attack, leaving several persons dead and hundreds displaced. This adds to the recent wave of attacks being experienced in some parts of the country, specifically in areas like Plateau and Borno State. Well, joining me right now to speak on this is Terrence Kuanum, is the SA Secretary to the Government on Public Affairs. And also I have Chidi Omeje, is a Security Affairs Analyst, and Meddy Olotu, Human Rights Activist from Otukpo, Benue State. All of them are joining me virtually. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the opportunity. All
right, let me start with you, Chidi Omeje. Looking at, what happened in Plateau and Benue State, Benue State, where we, of course, are seeing this attacks, unfold from a security standpoint, and not just Benue State right now. Maybe we should expand it. We also saw recently too in Plateau State and then Borno State. What does this reflect of Nigeria's security architecture recently? Are we getting it right, or are we regressing?
Thank you for having me once again. I said, what is happening right now is something we all are. We knew it was going to happen because we've not been able to, take cognizance of what we call root cause analysis. When we do root cause analysis, you're going to find out the drivers of this kind of persistent insecurity. There are things that are giving rise, that are making these things to keep recurring. So it's not just about, bringing boots on the ground to shoot our problems through. It's about finding out the root causes, finding out exactly what is happening. Because what is happening is beyond what you and I are seeing. It has some, there are probably some kind of historical grievances, some kind of, unresolved conflicts or unresolved tendencies, in these areas. Because, you cannot tell me that, Nigerians will just wake up today or tomorrow and begin to shoot people. There are something behind it. There are some root, there are some factors that we need to really expose. By the time we expose these factors, then we have to deal with those factors. And I want to believe that it's not so much about the security architecture, because security architecture, let me tell you what they call kinetic effort. Kinetic effort is like dealing with the symptoms of a disease. But we're talking about treating the disease itself. If you want to treat the disease, you have to find out, you have to do some laboratory analysis to find out what the problem is. So when you know what the problem is, then you apply the right medication. So right now, what we see when we talk about security architecture, we're not talking about our reaction to what is manifesting. Right. But we should be much more concerned about what is causing this manifestation.
Okay, so that will bring me to my question to you, Chidi Omeje. You are talking about root cause. Let's look at Benue, for instance, right? What we understand from reports is that, herders did carry out this attack. That's according to, a report made available to us. There's also that of Plateau State. Some will tell you it's pretty much intertwined, from religion to tribal, political. Some would even say it has morphed into personal grievance. And then you have Benue State again, where you have activities of Boko Haram members, which seem to have returned with some of the spate of attacks that we've seen in some parts of that state. So I would like you to speak more on what you consider the root causes that maybe are peculiar to some areas that I've mentioned.
I think at the heart of the crisis in Plateau and Benue, for instance, I think is the issue of land use, and of course the resources and how the so-called farmers herders issues, or rather people trying to, possibly take lands that some people believe is their own ancestral land, people who think that they have a right to graze, people who say, no, you cannot graze on my farms. So these are the issues, and these are the old grievances. that have given rise to, some level of animosities that have not been able, that we have not been able to uproot. So these animosities began to bear fruits. And then the fruit I'm talking about now has to do with, a primordial sentiment from people who now begin to take sides and begin to arm people and begin to, show sentiments here and there. And when you see sentiments being shown here and there, there will be a tendency for people to encourage or even support, even the adversary. So now, we, as far as I'm concerned, the crisis in Plateau and Benue are quite similar, because you are dealing with people, the natives, so-called, are always addressing people who come from wherever they come from, and then attack them, probably in the night when they were sleeping, or you take them unawares and raise their communities and kill people. These things are recurring for over more than a decade now or two. And we are still, going around it as if we don't know that there are some root causes. And now, it's not for me here to tell you what exactly are the intricacies of these causes, but people there on the ground would then know. The government in this state, they know. They can't tell me that they don't know. They know. So it takes the political will to deal with these things. If it's not just about, coming out to say, I've given the police Hillock boxes or giving them this. No, that's not the issue. The issue is dealing with the root cause. So then
there's something you said. There's something you said. You said Sorry? It takes. There's something you said, in your remark. You said it takes political will to actually meet many of these challenges on the board. But my question to you is this: is it a situation of political will right now, or it appears like the situation seems to be outside? It has gone beyond the grasp of maybe the government.
No, well, you see, at the stage we are right now in Borno and Plateau has actually gone beyond what the government alone could do. Time has come when you have to involve the communities, the locals, the traditional communities here, to be able to, sit at the round table to find a lasting solution, because both sides tend to hold tenaciously to their convictions. So the government, what I mean by the political will here is that it takes a government that has that political will, that has that strong political will to call spade a spade, to be able to stand their feet and say, no, enough is enough. This is not the time for the government to be aloof or to be far away from the people. This is a time for them to really be on ground, to tackle this matter, call spade by its name, and then wield the gun, wield the stick where necessary. So this is the time to show firmness. This is time to show the fine art of statecraft to deal with sensitive situations like this. This is not time for aloofness. This is not time for pandering to some political but this is time to show. When I say political will, I mean people showing firmness in their in the authority that they wield. That's what I mean.
Oh, okay. Now let's consider the efforts of the government, over the years in actually ensuring that there is security, in many parts of the country, particularly in those areas that are pretty much peculiar to unrest. We've seen budgetary allocations. We've seen deployment of even personnel, and we've seen innovations and policies come up. We've had different strategies from, Python dance to different names you might want to call it, right? But we still keep coming back to these issues over and over. And then we've also seen strategies too, where even though some might, raise an eyebrow, they say, let's even forgive some of these people that have done it. We've seen amnesties and all of that, but we are still here. So what do you, from a strategic perspective, security strategic perspective, think is the missing gap here? Is it in spending? Is it in personnel? Is it in the fact that maybe these individuals might need more training, or do we even need to, according to some, maybe hire foreign mercenaries, to assist our boots on ground?
First things first, like I told you before, that we need to deal with the root causes before we even talk about, the kinetic effort. When you talk about the boots on the ground, we need to be able to have the boldness to speak the truth. We need to have talking about the leaders. We need to have the boldness and frankness, and transparency to see, A and call it A. If there's a particular group in this part, a particular party in this crisis that are not getting it right, it behoves on government to be firm enough to say, you can't continue this way. They've been talking about whether we can, make use of mercenaries. Well, as far as I'm concerned, any which way that can give us respite, any approach, any tactics, any style, any manner that we can do, can follow it to be able to restore peace and stability in these areas is welcome by me. Don't forget that in 2014, 2015, when the elections were closed, and some parts of Borno State were not able to, there were no peace in Borno State, the Jonathan government of that time, they made use of what they call mercenaries from South Africa, and there was an immediate respite, and of course, elections were able to hold there. So if we are sure that we can get respite from that particular strategy, why not, for goodness sake? I want to see that the stoppage in this wanton killing on the Plateau and in Benue State and elsewhere, and the crisis is not just in these two areas. Down in the southeast there, you have also attacks in some local government areas in Enugu State, for instance, in Uzuwani, and Ehamufu. These are areas where these same herdsmen, these same bandits constitute serious security breaches, killing people at random. So these things got to stop. Government must be intentional about dealing with this situation, because there's no way we can progress as a country when many parts of our country are blighted by terror attacks and banditry and all manner of security infractions. So it's something that we must have the testicular fortitude to deal with.
All right.
Understand?
All right. Chidi, thank you so much for that. We'll go on a quick break now. Once we definitely return, we'll pick up, on this conversation. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. And of course, it's still Politics HQ on News Central Television. And we're discussing the security situation in many parts of the country, particularly in areas like Benue State, Plateau State, and also Maiduguri, where, of course, there were recent attacks. I still have my guests with me. Currently, I'm still speaking with Chidi Omeje. He's a security affairs analyst. He's joining virtually from Abuja. Thank you for your time, sir. Now, let's look at also the communities too, community involvement when it comes to the security architecture. For some experts, they will say that many of these communities are in the hinterland, rural areas, where maybe data might even be an issue. How do you suggest communities can better galvanize to secure themselves? There are even some, public officers suggesting that maybe it's high time citizens start to arm themselves, for protection. What's your take?
Well, right now, you just made allusion to some communities where you don't have data, where there's no access to them. Now, we're talking about in year 2025, and we're still talking about communities not able to have data, not able to have network. Yet they pay taxes, yet during elections, the politicians go there to campaign. So it boils down to bad governance, you see. So bad governance is at the heart, is at the root of all these crises. Because if the communities are not able to even have the basic thing as access to telephone or internet, in the 21st century as we are in now, it speaks a lot about us as a people. So why should we still have a community in Nigeria where such basic things are lacking? That's by the way. Now you see, I've always believed that the kind of crisis we have on our hands are such that can be dealt with better with information that will be processed into actionable intelligence. So it's only when people are able to see things and say it, when people are able to see what is happening and able to relate information to the authorities, that the authority can actually help. But now you've talked about it, people are living in enclaves where they don't have roads to meet them. They can't even make phone calls. So these marauders, these bandits, these terrorists, they always have a way to encircle them and obliterate them. So we are talking about the issue of bad governance. We're talking about the issue of the fact that there needs to be collaboration with the people. What they always talk about is the all of society approach in dealing with international security challenges. Even though I have, in one of my articles, I enumerated the limitations of all of society approach in international security operations, and some of the limitations is issue of a fragmented society like ours, society that not speaking one voice. So, for instance, if you say you are going to rely on all of society approach to deal with this kind of situation, and your society is divided, how are you going to bring them together? Or where would you have the unity of purpose to deal with the situation? So these are the issues. Those who are managing our security, affairs must sit back and really take stock. Probably, constitute what I call a national security think tank to bring experts together that can actually, look at these things and advise appropriately. What we are having now, it is becoming embarrassing that our country on daily basis we are recording tens and 20s and hundreds of people killed in their homes and their farms on daily basis. It's unacceptable.
Chidi, I'll come back to you. I'd like to bring two persons into this conversation right now. Of course, I'll be bringing in Terrence Kuanum, is the Secretary to the Secretary to the Government on Public Affairs. Terrence Kuanum, thank you for your time. I'd also like to bring in Meddy Olotu, is a human rights activist who is joining from Otukpo, Benue State. Thank you for your time, Meddy.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
All right. I'll come to you, Mr. Kuanum, but let me go to Meddy first. Meddy, you are resident in Benue State, Otukpo Local Government Area. You actually did post a video on social media calling for help in a particular region in Benue State as regards recent attacks. I'd like you to speak on that and what exactly is going on in that part of Benue State.
That part here, there was an attack yesterday, and immediately I started calling on everyone that could help us that yesterday. It was so serious that the people could not help themselves, so they needed help. And as a human rights activist and someone that is well known in the Doma-speaking part of Benue State, I started reaching out. I started using my platform to reach out to the world. And earlier today, you can see I was there to move out some people from that community, from that village, because they were stranded and they need to leave because they don't know what's next for them. So I went there with 2 pickups and I moved them from that village from my own personal fund, not from the government, not from anything. This place where I'm showing in this video, it's where the Herdsmen came out from. That was what they told me when I got there today.
All right. What region, what part of Benue State is this?
That's Otobi, Akpa. It's called Otobi, Akpa. It's just like few minutes drive from Otukpo. Just few minutes, like 10 minutes drive from Otukpo town.
Okay, and then from the information that you are able to gather, even though you're resident also in Benue State, is that it's herdsmen who came to attack that part of the state, right?
It's herdsmen. They came in numbers. In fact, it's because one of the guys that were there yesterday, I can't bring that guy on TV. I can't bring that guy to, even I would have posted the guy on my platform. The guy said, if you see these people, they are small children, but they are herdsmen. They came in numbers. They were just spreading the bullets anyhow they want. And that was how the bullets were just touching people, So that was what happened yesterday. The guy said if they were not with hands, they would have fought hand to hand and they would have won them. But with the arms on their hands, they can't do anything. But they were just kids, coming there.
Kids with sophisticated weapons.
Yes, kids with sophisticated, exactly. So yesterday they came. So there were people that they can actually handle without the weapon, actually.
All right. I'll come back to you, Meddy. Let me bring in the essay to the Secretary to the Government on Public Affairs, Mr. Terrence Kuanum, joining virtually from Abuja. Thank you for your time, Mr. Kuanum. It's great having you on the program.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Let me ask, what exact Nigerians are beginning to wonder what exactly is happening when it comes to security, particularly with the recent wave of attacks, in certain regions of the country. I mean, just recently we saw what happened in Plateau State and then Benue State, and then just yesterday again, Benue State. It seems like we are going back to what we thought was over.
Thanks for that question. It's quite unfortunate that we found ourselves losing our citizens through these activities again. We've had felt that with the efforts made by government, bringing stakeholders together and discussing the way forward to the extent of even creating a Ministry of Livestock to be able to look at these activities that we're going to reduce, but it seems that the actions have not been able to bring solutions to this yet. I think the efforts made at the center needed to be collaborated at the states for these things to be able to work, because now we are looking at efforts at the center to make sure that the issue of herding cows and moving them from one part of the country to the other should be able to come to an end. But that we still have a lot of these herders, especially the deadly ones, the terrorists in our forests and bushes. And we need
Mr. Kuanum, are you there? I think
we've not been able to bring technology into this, but the only thing that can be able to solve this problem, because no amount of intel at the moment is finding it funny to stop this. And from recent intelligence that we've gathered, terrorists have also started using technology themselves. I think our security agencies need to bring technology so that drones can be able to get into our forests and be able to identify where these criminals are hiding. If not, this is going to be going round and round. We are losing people on a daily basis. And the case of Benue, it's even worse, because there the law was there until the new government came in and repealed the law. So the resuscitation there is worrisome. And that is why everybody is advising the government in Benue to be able to bring back the law and try to, because everybody's heading towards that direction.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to come in here. You said there was a law on issues like this, but the new government repealed that law. I'd like you to speak on what exactly this law entailed and what the new administration...
In 2017, there was an open grazing prohibition law in Benue that was enforced by the immediate past administration, and to a large extent, there was a level of peace in Benue. By May 2023, at least cows were not roaming up and down in Benue, and you could be able to dictate the entrance immediately, and that helped the security people to be able to contain most of the excesses, not coming to the communities directly. So the stage Benue was getting towards returning IDPs to the ancestral home, until when the new government came in, to repeal the law, scrap the livestock guards that were bringing in the bushes, bringing interest to the conventional securities. Those vehicles that were used to impound cows that were seized from people that were stubborn and were going against the law have been converted to cargo trucks. A new security outfit has been instituted in Benue with no objective to protect the citizens at all. So that case is quite difficult. At least the issue of Benue was looking like a model that someone could look at and begin to think of how this situation can be resolved. Even at the national level, as we're discussing today, it's still the solution that came in Benue that they are trying to expand at the national level, so that all over the country, ranches can be built, and then we can be able to move our herders, train them how the modern way of herding cows, how these cows can be more beneficial to them. If they are ranched, they can get more milk, the meat will be more better, and X, Y, Z. And so those were the dimensions things were going. The issue of Plateau, we actually commend the governor because the governor has been up and doing with the people as this thing is happening. And I think with that reaction, he has drawn the attention of the entire security forces to that place. And with the level of intelligence being gathered there, we hope that that thing will be able to put to a rest. When they have identified the camp where the criminals are in the forest in Plateau.
All right.
And I think the securities are combing the forest at the moment.
Okay.
So I think with these efforts, but it's not quite palatable that every farming season we are coming to the situation that our farmers are being attacked, and it's affecting the entire economy
Mr. Kuanum,
as a whole, because when these people can go to the farm, it's going to affect our farming yields, and it's going to affect our harvest, and so it affects our economy.
Mr.
So
Kuanum,
it's something that we need to an end. And as a government, we have really done so much to the extent of bringing a ministry on board that will be able to resolve these problems.
Okay.
And I expect the state governments to also cue into this solution so that they will look at this thing as the number one priority of security.
Mr. Kuanum, we'll definitely come back to this. I understand we need to go for on a quick break. I also understand that you're from Benue State. So we'll dwell more on these issues definitely once we return from this break. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television, and of course we are discussing the recent attacks in some parts of Nigeria. I still have my guests with me. I have Mr. Terrence Kuanum, is the SA to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. He joins virtually from Abuja. I also have Chidi Omeje, he's a Security Affairs Analyst, and Meddy Olotu is a human rights activist resident in Otukpo, Benue State. Thank you for staying with me, gentlemen. Now, Meddy, I want to come to you because I noticed that while Mr. Kuanum was talking, particularly when he talked about a law as far back as 2027, that sort of stemmed the tide of attacks when it comes to the headers' activity in the state, and that the current administration did repeal that law. I noticed your reaction. Maybe you might want to speak on that, and from your perspective, what you consider the root cause of this matter, because we know that this attack is not an isolated one.
No, it's not. See, I feel what's happening with this attack. It's like when they did that agreement in Akpa and Agatu, when Fulani started coming back, when these Herdsmen, started coming back to Akpa and Agatu. Now, the thing there is that they said Akpa and Agatu, the grass there used to, how do I speak this English? I don't know if you can put me through, but they said the grass there, it's good for their cows. It's very good for their cows. So they will keep coming back to Akpa and Agatu. Like what Mr. Kwame said about the 2023 stuff. Right now, it's more alarming. I think then it was better. It was better because it was not as much as now. Then it will just happen in some parts. In fact, it will happen in Agatu, and people are so used to it that it's happening in Agatu or it happened in one TV land. Okay, people are used to these things happening around those places. But right now it's escalating. Right now it's going to Otukpo, it's going to, imagine the one in Otukpo. Otukpo is the ancestral home of the Idoma people. We have never heard of such before. Coming to Otukpo now, it has entered Idoma land fully. Like this evening, right now, there was an attack in a village called Emichi, also in Otukpo. But that one, I've not reported that one. That one is not out yet, but there's an attack this evening. People are posting it. It's everywhere already. So you see these attacks keep coming day by day in Otukpo now. So in 2003, it was not, in 2023, it will just happen in some places, but now it's escalating. Now it's going viral. Now it's going everywhere. You hear it happen here today. Maybe tomorrow morning as you're waking up, you hear they have strike another village. You hear they are here. So now they are touching every part right now in Benue State.
Does it appear like there's an agenda to this?
For me, I feel like what the governor said the other day. He said people are actually playing politics to this. But me, I don't know. I can't tell. So I don't know if you have issues with some persons and that's why they are playing politics to this. But this is happening at a time like this. People should not play politics with people's life. So, but if you know those people that are playing politics with this, he should come up and say it. He should say something. Because if you imagine the other day where the Senate president, a video was going viral where the Senate president said the governor is not speaking out. So if there is an issue, if people are playing politics with this, he should speak out, call names, mention these people. Let's know these people.
All right, let me leave you for a moment and go to Chidi. Chidi, looking at a solution-based approach to this matter, I mean, what do you suggest as maybe an idea that you feel that from a security standpoint, the government could adopt to, nip this, will I call it, recurrent issue right now?
Like I mentioned it before that what is lacking right now is the political will to deal with the root cause of this matter. I mean, this is the time for the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to assert his authority, to stamp his feet and say enough is enough. In Benue, on the Plateau, in Enugu, or anywhere where we have this, we have the peculiarity of this crisis. So because we can't continue like this, I mean, we have no other solution. Because look, like I mentioned before, that I'm not so much interested in how we're able to amass, guns to stop them. Because if you do that, you have not dealt with the problem from the roots. Let us find out exactly where this is coming from, so that we resolve them. Is it issue of grazing? Is it issue of land ownership? Is it issue of relationship? Whatever the problem is, it can be resolved. After all, people in Rwanda resolve their issue, and today they are living in peace. So what is it that we cannot resolve if we have the political will to deal with the situation? So what I'm concerned is all about having the frankness, having the transparency, or rather the genuineness of heart, and then the political will to deal with whatever the issues behind this.
I think I'll just I'll pick up from where you used the word political will to direct the question to the essay to the Secretary of the Federation, to the government of the Federation on this. Mr. Kuanum, and I'm going to put this to you directly because you're speaking, from the highest office. You're speaking from the presidency. Is there really a political will to stem insecurity in Nigeria, or is this all politics?
Then I've asserted his authority to be able to end issues of security in this country. And let me take you down memory lane. We've gone through situations in this country where every administration since 2007 has brought a security challenge to this country. This is the first time a president is assuming office without bringing a security challenge. You remember that the Jonathan eras, we had the Boko Harams, the Buhari eras, we had the bandits. This is the first time a new security challenge has not come because he has come headlong to be able to resolve this challenge. That is why today we can be able to apply the Kaduna, Abuja, Kano route, the Bridingwari stories, the Kafanchan, whatever access those roads, they are open to Nigerians, and those stories are not coming. These herders' activities were there with us for a very long time without a solution until the president came on board and brought all stakeholders together, both farmers, both herders, and every stakeholders, and the Ministry of Livestock has come on board. The Ministry of Livestock is less than 90 days, and they are doing everything, but these issues have been there perennially with us, and they are resuscitating. We know that the efforts that are being put in are going to bring solutions that are going to be lasting for us. This challenge we are having, like I told you, every situation that is happening, like in Benue, the escalations are obvious because it's total negligence of the government. Because these things were happening under Otom. All Nigerians are aware what Otom did. That some level of peace came.
Sorry, you said what is happening. I just need to get this clarity on this. You said what is happening in Benue State is total negligence of the government of the state. Is that what you're saying?
Of course, because there were killings in Benue and there was total denial to the extent that this thing has overwhelmed them. Remember that the advisor to the governor of security came out at the point to even deny totally that Benue is safe. Government officials will deny. The technical advisor to the governor of media came out and said there were no killings in Benue. The governor himself came out and said there were skirmishes when they were killing our people on a daily basis until this thing has overwhelmed them that these things are happening. The actions that are being taken that would have gotten the attention when the National Assembly members were moving motions of national importance so that the security attentions should be moved to Benue because killing has resuscitated. They were busy saying it was politics and XYZ. To the extent that most of the National Assembly members that they were saying they were raising these issues because they were being political, they have lost their ancestral homes. So what are we saying?
So right now, sorry, just to be clear, you are saying what is happening in Benue State largely is not the fault of the federal government, but the fault of the state government. That's the insecurity situation. Is that what you're saying?
There have never been mobilization of securities to these states the way they have done it now. And there is no logistics given to these people. There is no alarm raised by government. They went to the extent that at a point when people go to social media to even report killings from their communities, some were even arrested by government officials that they were raising false alarms. These things happen in Benue. Now this thing has escalated to a point that no one can deny it again. There was so much negligence from Benue, denial from government officials, when our people were killed on a daily basis. If you look at the level of penetration of these guys in Benue at the moment, it's quite sad. We have never had it this bad in Benue.
All right. Let me leave you for a moment, Mr. Terrence, and let me come back to you, Meddy. Meddy, you are on the ground. You are an activist in Benue State. I mean, on the program this evening, we have an official, a key official from the highest office in the land, the presidency. I want you to speak directly. What is the concern as regards security right now in Benue?
Right now, the concern it's alarming. It's alarming. It's so alarming. And see, let me tell you something. The place where they attacked yesterday, when the security guys went there, I made a video today where I said they will go there today. As they are leaving with the security agencies. Now they went there today. On my way to that community, they left immediately. There's no single police there. And they said they are creating like an IDP camp there. You're creating a camp without security. What if these people comes back for these people? If you go to the community now, that they are saying nobody should stay there, that they are saying nobody should leave the community. As I'm speaking to you right now, this night, my chief, the chief of the Idoma nation, the king of the Idoma nation, rose his staff and want to hit at me. Because why? I kept speaking the truth.
So right now you are calling for intervention. You are calling for intervention.
Yes, I'm calling on intervention from the federal government. That is the single help we need right now. They should come because right now we are left alone. We are alone. We are alone. Right now we are sleeping with one eye closed like this. We don't sleep.
All right.
Because you don't know what's more.
Just before we conclude, Mr. Terrence, I'll just come back to you. You've said quite a number of things, but I mean, in closing, what would be your remark or your comment to residents, particularly in Benue State? Because I also understand you are a son of the soil.
Yeah, first of all, I need to commend my brother here, the activist that has been up and doing. I seriously pray for him because now that he's even exposing these activities I know that the government might even come after him because they are not ready for anybody to expose these killings. We don't know the reason why. As a government at the center, I want you to know that we have done every mobilization of security. We have met with the security chiefs, the chief of defense staff, the minister of defense. We have directed him on these activities, and they kept complaining that at any time they do mobilizations to Benue, the government keeps telling them that as chief security, these things are just skirmishes. There are no serious issues in Benue. That is why the Senate president has to make that statement. Like he's saying that how can a chief, knowing that they are killing his people on a daily basis, not commend his son that is exposing these activities to get hope, help me rather raise sticks on him, because the government is directing them that they should make sure that these things doesn't come up. There is no lie when people are being killed on a daily basis. This is as a public domain, and that is why there is a huge cry from Benue to find out what is actually happening, that our own government that is supposed to protect us is rather denying the killings of our own people. It's quite a sad scenario. And when we look at the reactions of governors in Plateau State, we begin to even envy the people of Plateau State for having a governor that will go out and stand with them, that will even apologize to them, that what happened to them. We don't have such situations. What the report that we are getting from Zone C alone, from what the activists is saying, no official of government has even gone there to commiserate with the people. Is that how things are done? And when you don't get such support, whatever effort you make from the center, they call it sabotage, or they are trying to give the government a bad name.
All right.
He is aware of the accusations that have come to us, that we are the ones escalating the crisis because we are saying they are killing our people. But our people are dying on a daily basis, and they expect us to keep quiet.
All right. Gentlemen, we'll go on a quick break. Once we return, we'll, of course, be wrapping up the show. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Of course, it's still Politics HQ on News Central Television, and we, of course, are winding down slowly. But before I go, Chidi Omeje, in 30 seconds, your final thoughts on this matter. 30 seconds, strictly.
Look, the time has come for us to sit back and do some introspection to say, is this how a country developed, by allowing crises to engulf us every now and then? It's about time the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria asserts his position and authority to say enough is enough. This is not time for governors to claim that nothing is happening when things are happening. The same thing Kuanum is complaining is exactly the same thing that's happening in Enugu State. The state government there will rather not agree that something is happening, but people are dying in Uzuwani and they have food. So people are dying in Benue. So the governor should acknowledge this fact. That was how he embarrassed Otobi the other day, just because he doesn't want people to know what's happening. So this governor should be able to help the federal government so that we get things right. So I'm all for us to have peace, sustainable peace and security in our country. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time. Mr. Terrence Kuanum is the SA to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation on Public Affairs. Also, many thanks to you to Chidi Omeje, as a Security Affairs Analyst. And Meddy Olotu, Human Rights Activist, resident in Otukpo, Benue State. It's a pleasure. Thank you too.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
This is where we drop the curtains. In case you missed out, you can catch up on our YouTube platform. That's at News Central TV, and you can choose to follow us on social media with the same handle. It's there on your screen. You can also choose to follow me personally at Dakbo at Digboye. Until I come your way tomorrow, good night.